Hey, everybody. And it's been a second, but we're back here on the Drum Corps Coffee Shop podcast. What's up, George?
What's going on?
Dude, can you believe it's been as long as it's been?
And a lot has happened.
A lot has happened. So our last episode was sometime in the winter.
Yeah.
And since then, I know we've kind of taken some time off because you taught this summer.
Yeah. I was with the Blue Stars this summer, did a lot of time with them.
Yeah. And you kept that like close to the vest, and really not saying anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, it was, the one thing I will say about that experience is it was really enlightening being on a staff. And it gave me a lot of insight and sort of changed my perspective on when we have like these kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
And when we go and we talk to staffs and groups and stuff like that during the season. The one thing I will say about that is the way I sort of characterize it is when you're on the bus. So if you're a member, if you're a day-to-day staff person, your experience is very contained and very different from what it looks like from the outside.
Yeah.
You see everything, and everybody on the outside only sees a little bit, right? And I understand the perception of the way sort of like people thought about us during the season, going into the season, and all of that stuff. But I was forced to only keep my perspective, on what was happening day to day while I was there. And I can tell you with that, I had the summer of my life.
Oh, yeah. Even at your advanced age was the grind.
It was, it actually was physically, it helped me to be that active every day. And just to be around people. I mean, like the environment was so good all the time that I didn't feel anything health-wise, physically, all of that stuff. I was out there running around, chasing them all over the field.
Chasing the dirt, trying
to get rid of it. But yeah, and my summer with them was one and done. We're not going to be back, but it doesn't matter.
No,
because I kid you not, and I know a lot of people won't get this. I had the summer of my life. It was incredible, and we got done. We achieved everything we wanted to achieve,
Yeah, I got to say, I saw you at the beginning and at the end, and it was a vast difference. I think you guys did an excellent job throughout the summer of building it up and peaking right at the right time. And congrats on your summer.
Yeah, God, the way they sounded at the end.
Yeah,
I would just like look around and just be like, like we were talking like the Remo guys and the Yamaha guys and whoever about like how do you get the drums to sound like that? And we would talk about the tuning and all of that stuff, but I'm like, it's the hands.
Yeah,
it's the same thing that like Bricky would tell us. Like they would ask him about the tuning, and he's just like, it's the hands. And so to all of my fellow, to all the staff people that we ever talked to and stuff like that, I get it.
Yeah,
because my situation was not singular. I totally get that on the inside, that's what it is. Yeah. And then it kind of looks away from the outside, but you have no control over that.
Yeah. Well, let's just say congrats on your summer.
Oh, it was great. It was great. And I'm actually going to keep teaching. I'm going to be with POW this year.
Awesome.
POW Percussion. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to keep working with staffs and kids, and I will try to keep making lot videos. I promise.
Better yet, just keep making like good quality hands,
exactly,
quality of sound.
Exactly.
So congrats on your summer. And before we really get into the podcast, I want to take a second and say congrats to the Boston Crusaders on winning everything, and congrats to their percussion section for, being perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. A very hard thing to do in the activity.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, George, now that we've talked about your summer a little bit, let's get into our podcast.
Yep.
Go ahead, George. I'll let you introduce our guest.
Well, he's somebody that's been on the podcast before. That we got to hear his story. But let's welcome Josh Nelson.
Welcome back. Welcome back
to the
Josh.
shop.
Thanks for having me. It's cool to be on here again. Yeah, not something that I do in my everyday life, obviously, but I listen to podcasts every day. So it's cool to see kind of the behind the scenes a little bit. And um I'm really encouraged, George, just hearing your story about the from the summer and just being fun. And it's no matter when you've done drum corps, like if you were back in the 1900s, like we did, and it's the same. It's still everybody's there for a common goal. Everybody's there for a common purpose and working towards that goal, whatever role you are in that, and whatever cog you are in the wheel there. But it's still the same, right? From when you were whatever you last for part of it, which I really enjoy that part of it, where it's just um, no matter what, drum corps still feels the same on the inside. If you're there, you're traveling every day, and it's they're obviously taking better care of everybody, and just with all the latest and greatest techniques and tools and stuff. But
What it really boils down to is you're working hard and you're getting better. Um, and you ask any of our members, I made them work hard. But what was amazing was you could see, like, literally block to block, day to day, especially in drum corps because you have them every day. They get better every day. Like, holy crap! Every day something is better than it was the day before.
At least that's the
mhm,
goal.
Well, and
Yeah.
and and I think
something.
for a lot of groups, that is the reality. I mean, maybe you'll hit some plateaus here and there, but it is so satisfying, you know. And like, what's funny is there would be so many times, like, we would be in some, like, at the rehearsal site at some parking lot, and we would be working a section, and we would stop, and the kids would look at each other like, whoa, like they could tell, right? And then we look around and like nobody's there, right? And so it's like, that's why I'm saying it's like your experience is so just inside of what's going on, but also that's what makes it special, right? Like, it's like
100%.
those moments of like, we are busting our ass, sweating our asses off. There's bugs everywhere. It's like it's gross outside, and we're having this experience of like of just getting better at doing this, and it's awesome. Like, what else is there? Like, at the core of it, that's to me, that's the stuff. That's the special stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And you wouldn't do that on your own, right? I think that's what's like, you wouldn't work that hard for anything. You wouldn't put up with those challenges and the tediousness of it to do that one specific thing, no matter what else you love. I think it is because of that group mentality of just kind of lifting the weight together. Um, and so, it's just like anything satisfying, like mowing your yard. Like you see the progress, like, oh, I'm getting further along here. I can hear that this is getting better. And um, I think that's what the real joy of it is. Like you said, see the kids growing, or the members, whatever, however you look at it, seeing their confidence grow. And that's what's, I think, the big advantage of drum corps over like indoor. And we might have talked about it last time we were on here. It's just you get so many chances at the warm up and the show, where you just don't get that many on with indoor. I mean, obviously you guys get to drum outside all the time in California, but um it's like it's sacred time to us on the indoor here over on this coast. And so just being able to do that so much in the summer, and like getting to work on eighth notes for hours, you know, and it's like we can really build a good um, foundation and a good base to be great. And I think that's what's really cool about it. And the system repeats itself and repeats itself and repeats itself. And um, yeah, to echo what you said, congratulations to the Boston Crusaders. Pretty phenomenal. Obviously, I thought DCI percussion as a whole. was as good as it's been in a long, long time. I think the slingshot from the COVID era, now we're kind of back into full swing, and um, yeah, impressive. And then the way that they sounded really the last month of the season was impressive. Just from a clarity and the way they got the drums to speak, and just the intent was always very obvious.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go out on a limb and I'll say this is probably one of the best years for percussion in DCI
Hmm.
because it was stacked from first place all the way 16th, 17th, 18th place. I mean, everybody's drumming good.
And isn't that the way it should be?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you figure out you've got to split hairs so much to
Right.
put one group over the other, you know?
No, and I wouldn't want to do that. Like either judging San Antonio or judging quarterfinals, where you see like every single group back to back to back to back to back. It's a lot of shows, first of all, but um, I wouldn't want that particular challenge.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
because
notorious.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, everybody's working so hard, and it's like those tenths to those groups really matter. Where like you're just trying to rank everybody and get everybody. If you're the judging side of it, yeah, it's a it's a delicate balance of everybody's emotions tied up to tenths and hundredths of a point.
Yeah, and I remember when we had Osmore on, like the judges are mindful that those numbers have a ripple effect, right? Like just like we talked about,
Oh, yeah.
right? Where you're impacting people's seasons, you're impacting their employment status,
Oh,
either solidifying it or making it tenuous,
yeah.
right? And so, we know that they really take their job seriously, and but those numbers are, so much goes into it. They're so loaded. It's not just like a thing about the performance of the night and how a certain group does. It has a massive impact on things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I'm notoriously one of those guys when the scores are announced, I'll run to the recaps because I want to see the breakdowns and who's doing what and
Yeah.
how the judge had what. And I'm guilty. I'll be like, what was this judge thinking? How can, on TV it looked like this, but I shouldn't be giving, none of us should ever really be giving any judges any grief because it's a job
But
I
also,
wouldn't want to do.
something that I said over and over again is a judge is never going to change my mind about how I feel about a performance.
Yeah.
You know, so if we feel like we had a good performance and we hit all of our goals, everything that we were trying to achieve, then and we know we're still on track, then that's what matters, right? To get to the ultimate goal. And there have been times when you go out there and you're like, whoa, like how did we get that number? I remember one time when I marched. It was the show right before finals in '95, and we came off the field and Kevin Murray just ripped us apart because it was just not great. And we ended up winning by like a considerable amount in percussion. But that's when you learn. It's like whether you're being rewarded, sort of not unfairly, but out of character, or you're being punished out of character. You have to keep the main thing the main thing. Stay focused on what's important. And that's ultimately what's gonna get you there.
You're competing against yourself, yeah. You're competing against your average, right? And what's good for you, and just making sure that you display that your best average run. You don't want to be way better magically or way worse magically. You just want to like this is what we normally do, and we'll keep working on this chunk to make it more consistent, and so that when you pull it out of the hat, that was a good one. And you want your average to be good.
And like Josh, we were sort of in like a little bit of a clump of percussion sections together over the summer, like Colts, Blue Stars, Mandarins, Cavaliers, Spirit, Blue Knights. We were Madison. We're all sort of in this, Troopers, and all that stuff. Um, for you guys, were you able? Was it hard to keep the main thing, or did you feel like it was like you couldn't help but be reactionary to like what was going on with other groups?
Oh no, it was we. I would like to have been just like we're playing clean. It's like why can't we do better? No, it's just it takes us. It took us a little more time this summer to like really get feeling comfortable. And it wasn't like we were doing bad. We did have quite a bit more content in the show this year, so there was a little bit of just kind of raising the bar for that, and then really just trying to achieve consistently, like we were talking about. And we definitely got there by the end, which was feeling good. And I think like your own group, George. Just like sometimes it just takes a little bit longer, or it's some of it. The other groups got a lot better, and there were some very, very good groups this summer that I thought maybe didn't even get rewarded as much as they should have.
Yeah, I could think of one offhand, but that's I guess for another conversation.
Yeah, again, it's just like our opinion. We're just kind of making it, as we see it. But the good thing again about drum corps is like you have those averages, so like you should know pretty much where to expect. It's not like you drop 2 points all of a sudden.
Right.
And I think that used to be a problem probably pre-internet a little bit more, but and you don't want the judge comparing numbers, but they're aware of where you're at kind of numbers wise. And um I would assume, just so that again, they're not going to do something drastically different than where you've been and the neighborhoods you've been in. And I think the vast majority of judges are really good at that.
And interestingly enough, like it gave me a lot of insight into judging and the numbers and sort of what you have to. I will say like for a while, like towards the back half of the season, we we were trying to get over the hump, trying to get out of box 4 into box 5, right? And
Tough.
regardless of how good the majority of the show got, right? So like the majority of the show is getting better. If you kept making box 4 mistakes, you were going to get a box 4 score. And I think that is something that staff people know really well from dealing with the judges, show to show. Maybe the outside thinks it's just kind of like, oh, you got a little bit better, so you should. But no, there's literally, for us anyway, there was this. We couldn't get a 9 in a sub caption unless we essentially got rid of all perceivable rhythmic errors, if that makes sense to people. Like maybe
There's
a
a
little.
key, yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say there's one key word in there, and it's one that from when you go from box 4 to box 5, and again, I think we had that same struggles at times. It's the one key word that changes is always. You always demonstrate this, or you often, or I think
Yeah,
it's
often versus always. Yeah, we would say that to the kids, and we got to get there. So turning that focus onto, and it's a good focus to have, right? Of how long can we sustain this without dropping below where we're at, like having a drop in what we're doing.
Let me ask you this, Josh. What was the since we're talking about judging? What was the feedback from the judges for you guys? Like, because I follow all this stuff all season, and it's like there's the build, and then it's like I want to say about a week before finals, you guys put up a good number, and you're get started to get rewarded for what you got, but then we get to finals week, and it's just like, phew.
Yeah, and I think some of that I wouldn't say slotting is that thing, but it was exactly what George is talking about, where like we have extended phrases, and like you have to put up, and you have to show out that entire time, especially when it's one of your moments, or it's like when the judge is able um to view it and sample it really well, just based on the drill or what have you. Um, you can't make those box 4 errors, and because again, it'll just kind of keep you at that 17-6, 17-8 kind of area. And um, the kids know it. They're very smart, and they want to be able to do those things. I do think it is a lot of just like when you make those mistakes, and it's like, are you back behind the horn line, just like cruising across the back hash, or are you right on the numbers in the front and just like make a great 1-2 count great sound, So when everybody's so good, that's I think that's what's fun about it. That's what the challenge. It takes you all summer to get something like that. Obviously you want to do it the first week, but to get the clarity and the credit um consistently, you got to do it all the time. It's hard.
So that's a message to everybody out there on the internet watching videos and talking about, calling ticks from the couch and stuff like that. Realize that for us, on the ground, the idea of that's what we're fighting for. We're literally fighting for the judge to not say, to call like a tick, right? And in at the level that we were at, right? So like fighting for that 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th area, right? Imagine what the groups above us were going through
Oh yeah.
with regards to like trying to claw out their tenths. Like, when a judge, moving from a judge not being able to call out errors, to like, well, then what are they rewarding you for? Right. So being clean is literally just a minimum requirement, right? A clean, the way we would sort of normally think about it, is literally a minimum requirement on the field.
And the content is more obvious because of how many times some of these judges get to see you, like where they can credit those kinds of things. Or that's the power of critique too, because don't getting to go into critique and talk to the judges. And most of the time I did percussion, but I would do some other captions from time to time. They really want to get it right. They like, honestly, they want to get it right, and they want to credit you for the things that maybe they didn't see, and then you can use that time obviously for that. But it's, again, yeah, like you're saying, it's not easy to stand out in a crowd like that, especially.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to add this before we stop talking about like summer marching and get on to other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Drill designers, do us all a favor and please, put the drum lines up front, because that, I think, for a lot of, not saying you guys, but you touched on it about being on the back hash and in the front. Staging is so important.
How was your staging, Josh?
Yeah, I think for a lot of our exposed stuff is really good. There's always some challenges, and there's some things where like and there, and I think one thing about drum corps is like you pick apart everything, right? You pick apart what you do, you pick apart what everybody else, you pick apart what you eat, you pick, like everything. Oh, like we did this time. And it's like, so like everybody's hyper focused on details of everything. And I think it wasn't anything that was like necessarily holding us back. We had some challenging things. I see some other groups maybe take or they took less visual challenges, but they have a better sound more consistently, where maybe their listening environments aren't changing extreme amount, and so they have that time to kind of settle in. But those top groups, I mean, Boston wasn't really holding any punches as far as their listening responsibilities and that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, if you're great, you're great. Um, but I do think, especially again, when you're like in there picking it apart, like if we can, a lot of the times now where drums usually be in the back a lot for some timing stuff, or it's just a different approach, especially with the way that people mic horn lines, and you have this arms race as far as how loud you can be. And I think for those top groups, that their volume level stops at how loud the battery can play. Like that's their max, like full volume. Um, so being on the side is great from a sampling, or in the front, or a lot of people like putting the color guard right in front of the battery, which is it's tough as a teacher, but obviously design, you want to have that element.
But or having them come in, like we had two exposed moments where like it's almost like you're baiting the judge. Like the judge goes to the area, thinks that it's safe, and then here comes the guard or here comes the horn line and gets them. But it's funny, like you were talking about what it sounds like. What really struck me this summer was what the battery sounded like from the sideline versus behind the pit versus like if you were like standing where you could hear the speaker, it sounded totally different than if you like moved like a couple feet forward and the speaker was not infecting the sound at all. And then from the stands, right? Did you guys have, how was it trying to dial in and making sure that it sounded the way it needed to, the way you guys wanted it to from everywhere, right? It sounded good on the field and from the stands and all of that.
And that's tough because the venues obviously change so often or every day. But the sampling of the where the drum judge is kind of between the 40s essentially, whether in front of the pit or behind the pit. Um, that's obviously the key zone, and we had a couple center fill speakers that are just kind of a little bit of a mix of the synth and things that you may not hear acoustically, but you want to make sure that that's part of the pit sound. Um, but I was the one going up top and mixing the show as far as just like speaking to the sound team in case we needed to make any adjustments. So I'd be up top, and a lot of times some of those venues you're like you can you're on top of the top head
Yeah.
essentially, so
Yeah.
you're not getting and that's where the MA people are. So it's tough to get it right for everybody. I think WGI has a little bit of struggle with that, where you want to fill up the arena, um, but you may be either blasting out some of those low judges, or um, I think it's a delicate balance. But you try to make sure that wherever the drum judge is going to be, they're able to get a clear sample of what it is. And
Yeah.
Do you think, in your opinion, we should have like two percussion judges, at least for regionals and finals week?
the way I approached it, I think a lot of people would get more credit for their percussion ensemble, whether their 2D-ness or they're just the way they score their vertical score of just like amount of things going on, where like there's more layers I think you could catch. I don't know if we have the personnel necessarily to drop two drum judges on a because a lot of times drum judge is also judging something else for different shows. Maybe they do. I think it would be awesome. I know that was I think it was a proposal this past year to have that because we used to do it. But yeah, I can imagine what if Caleb Rothy or somebody's up there and they're doing the full percussion ensemble sound, like that would be awesome. Um, to have somebody like that's able to credit you for, because everybody has their products, their art, whatever you want to call it. You want to be able to show all the details that you put in there, but maybe you may only be somebody might catch it just one time, or they may not catch it at all, and you thought that was a really cool thing. But
You bring up percussion ensembles, and to me, especially this last summer, everybody pretty much drums around the same level now. So I feel like the way the full percussion ensemble writing is, I think that for me, I think that's the differential.
And
That becomes a differential in groups, because now it's just having to get to see these full percussion ensembles up close. It's wild what some groups are doing.
yeah.
Full percussion ensemble
And
wise.
and to Josh's point, it's really hard for a judge. A judge really has to make a concerted effort to take that in, the combined. I actually noticed that a lot where I was like,
For one person, heck yeah.
well, especially the judge gets sort of led around by the show, like the staging and if like a moment is obviously this or that. Like we had a moment at the top of our show, right after our opening statement that seemed like it was a battery moment. It was a very clear right up front. Judge could go around back behind the pit, but that's actually a full percussion moment, right? So as far as the interplay and how everything informed each other, completely lost. Or I mean, I guess you could sort of hear it, like take in the pit in the background while you're, but it's almost a disservice to, to like what's going on.
Oh yeah.
It definitely did its job from the stands, right? But as far as the percussion judge goes, they, at least outdoors, they really do have to make a concerted effort. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying if they want to, they really have to try hard to take in everything and not just judge front ensemble versus battery.
Yeah, like I used to be like, I only want to hear the battery type of guy, but now I'm like, I just want to
Especially
hear.
these days.
Yeah, these days
Like the writing is so good.
I enjoy hearing the full perk ensemble more than I do just the battery now.
Yeah.
It's weird. I never thought I'd ever be like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, and I don't know if the front ensembles are getting all the credit as clearly as the batteries do. And I know it's probably better than it used to be, but I think that's always going to be a place where we can still kind of leave some room for improvement as far as just like what we're able to credit on the judging side, and just or maybe because there's some great judges that can like five lit flam drags and just like rattle off the content. There's some that can do the same thing for the nice triple laterals or whatever it is for the front ensemble stuff, but there's still a little bit of room for growth, I think, for crediting front ensembles, and just like what is difficult in real life and being able to credit those kinds of things versus just them playing the soundtrack to the to the rest of the show, because they handle all the sound design and everything, and the way that gets integrated into the front ensemble is um it's hard, and it's a whole different art form. Yeah,
Yeah, the sound design is like you said, it's a whole different art form, and it really, for a lot of groups, it just enhances the overall percussion package.
big time.
I will say that I know that, you know, whoever's in charge of this stuff, they are trying to get more, like they're trying to find new judges, young judges, trying to
Hmm.
get them
Absolutely.
inserted.
Yeah.
There was we had a judge. He only saw us once in McKinney. I don't know if you guys were at that show. It was right after San Antonio. He was so good. I think his name was Jesse. I forget his last name. Like, was able to take in everything, like caught all of it, and never got stuck on like if we did something bad. It was like, oh, watch that, I'm rewarding you for this. Oh, watch this, I'm rewarding you for this. And his it was actually like really impressive. His brain moved so fast, like he caught all of it. He missed nothing.
Wow.
You know, um,
It's nice when you get a tape like that, when you're like, oh man, this guy read us like a book, good and bad. Like, I love that. And and it is a very thankless job. It's like a glutton for punishment kind of job to sign up for something like that. But like you said, like getting newer people in there, because there are so many people that are talented at this. Like y'all would make great judges. You know what I mean? Like, the best thing you could do, get out there and move your feet. Just like move your feet, get in front of something, catch as best as you can, and then, like you said, credit if you can, give some feedback on some things clarity wise. Um, but there's a symbiotic relationship that we have to have, and it's good. I think most of the time, but I think everybody wants to get more out of it. Get more, just squeeze more out of it.
since back even before we were marching, they've been trying to get it right,
Yeah.
and they will continue to do so.
What's funny is when you said there was a only judge that saw you once, I thought you were going to go like, oh, was it Chuck King? I don't know if he was around in your era, Josh, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Chuck King.
There's some judges. I mean, Peter Finari is still judging now, and I think he was judging. I don't want to date him too much, but I think he was judging in the
I
'80s.
think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's a awesome career, and he was one of the people that I was talking about earlier that did quarterfinals in San Antonio. He did it last year, so he judged everybody back to back to back to back to back. Um,
That's rough.
Dude, that's got to be rough. That's like doing WGI prelims or something, you know.
but everybody doing the entire thing.
So speaking of WGI, um, let's talk about Mystique. Unless there's anything else about the summer or anything you want to talk about with that regard, I feel like we explored that
Yeah.
pretty well.
No, just proud of my students and proud of my staff. Um, my writing partner CJ Barrow, um, and yeah, did great stuff. Another summer, and excited about my future.
Yeah, I know. I know. We got to talk to you. The first time was after like your first season teaching the Colts, and now here we're wrapping it up at the end with your last season. And dude, you built such a great program, percussion program there. I always enjoyed watching it every year. You know, they were clean and just good quality beats.
No, and I think we did it right, and I think we gave the kids a great experience. They learned how to work hard, like they would in any drum corps, and then I think there's a lot of positives. So I'm excited about again keep that going.
And all those skills actually transfer over into the regular world. You know,
Hmm.
they might not know it. I know I didn't know it at first, but if you could march drum corps and get through a summer like anything, you know, anything's possible.
Yeah.
You could do anything. Yeah. So now we're moving on to the winter and
And there's a lot of exciting things to talk about.
lot of changes in the Mystique world.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty rare for us, and just in general. And we kind of for so long everything has been in house. Um, and just kind of organic about who the next person is. And a lot of that comes from just it's a labor of love, right? We don't have the ability to pay people what their time put in is, but it's all about giving back. And I think that's still at the central core of who we are. Um, but with you know kind of some things moving on, and Shane focusing on his company. Now it's it was a great opportunity for us to kind of re-envision of where we're at. Um, a bit of a reset for some things, but a continuation for a lot of things. This will be a 32nd year. Um, and the membership we have is incredibly dedicated, and it's something that we're very proud of, and going to be able to continue that um, with a new team, a new vision, and again, just some fresh um, breath kind of breathed into it. Something that's for WGI, um, we're old.
When it got to the point when it's you realize okay it's going to be a change. Was that scary for you because of the continuity that you've talked about that Mystique has had all these years?
Absolutely, and there's no denying what that stability has gotten us, and um, the relationships that we've built along the way have been crucial to who we are, and what we've been able to do. And that yeah, it was scary, and it was I've never had to do that personally. Be able to put together, we had a bunch of ways we could do it. Um, and we knew that Dr. Matt Jordan and CJ Barrow would still be there. And that was a huge building block for us to be able to have. Um, you know, like I said, CJ was riding with me past few summers, and then Matt Jordan he's the music coordinator at Bluecoats. I think that's his official title, but he's on the design team, doing electronic stuff. And so we knew we had a good core to go from, and um, yeah, we just kind of went for it. There was some safe versions of it we could do, and um, I have a kind of a core trusted group that I kind of worked through this with, and I don't think we could have done a better job. At least again on paper. And then the summer obviously finished out, and we looked even smarter a little bit, just as far as I was like, well, this was a nice little byproduct of all that, and it's um, it's really nice to see people who have been kind of watching us for a long time and just like been aware of us. But then for them to be uh, as excited about working here as obviously we are, that have been a part of it forever, was really cool to see, in the way that those guys have really embraced it. Um, Getting Keith Potter on as the program coordinator and the visual designer is huge for us. Um, he obviously just did that same thing with Boston. He did it with Crown before that, as they built up into their championship. So he's a proven track record. Again, he had been working with Pride of Cincinnati, and so when it was kind of similar timing of when they announced that they were going to go inactive permanently, um, competitively, I guess. Um, it was at least we were going to shoot our shot, as they say.
How did that happen, or at least what can you talk about in terms of like how that came together?
Sure. Really just reached uh, more basic than you would probably imagine. Again, once we finished the season, and we knew we were going to be moving in a different direction, as far as our coordination and stuff. Um, he was at the top of the list, and just reached out, has a few phone calls with him, and he Keith is friends with some Mystique people, kind of over time. So he checked in on us for sure. He did his homework to make sure he was getting into something that he wanted to. Um, and I think we've always had been intriguing to him, and just we like to think of ourselves as approaching it differently. Who knows if that comes across, but we're just being true to ourselves, and I think that shows through at the end of the day. Um, and no, he was excited. We actually just got to had our first in-person design meeting this past weekend, with all the new team, and it's awesome.
I was going to say, for people that missed the announcement or aren't aware, like who are all the new
Yeah,
people?
I'm burying the lead here. Um, so yeah, Keith Potter is our visual designer and program coordinator, and then, like I said, Matt Jordan and CJ are still doing the a big bulk of the arranging, electronics and front ensemble. Then we added Lee Almond, who arranges for Avon High School and Cavaliers. Um, he'll be doing a lot of our front ensemble arranging this year. Um, and then Colin McNutt is our Bradley arranger, which is it's cool for me. It's a little bit of a full circle thing. I marched my very first summer of drum corps in 1997 at the Crossman with under Colin. So I've obviously known him a long time. He's done amazing things with so many different groups. Um, we have a lot of shared kids with Boston at Mystique. I think we had 6 kids from last year's group in Boston this summer. Um, so I think it was a immediate good fit for us. And Matt and Colin both write the stuff for the Marine Corps, the Commandant Zone, Drum and Bugle Corps, and so there's a few connections. CJ and Keith already write together on some other projects, so there's just guys who write a bunch anyway. Kind of had experience together, but it's just we're approaching it from a different angle, and I think it's good. It's good to change your process. It's good to not reinvent the wheel, but look at it differently, and be able to kind of say, how does this work for us, or does and then just getting some different voices in there has been great.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely excited to see this year's version of Mystique.
Yeah, but also, here's what I'm going to say is, ideally you would want it to work and for it to feel seamless, right? With regards to like the step forward and what it's going to be like right away. But we also know these things do take time, right? When a new staff, especially creatively, when a new staff works together, um, there is a feeling out process, and there is like a but and like like RCC went through it. For
Yeah.
example, like after Sean Vega left and a new crew came in, it took them several seasons to be able to find like, okay, this is it. This is who we are in this new iteration.
Going forward, yeah.
Yeah. So we definitely. I mean, I'm sure you guys want to come out of the gates like firing, right? But
Oh, sure.
I will say that from the outside, there's going to be a little bit of grace there, where we go, okay, like where we can start to go, oh, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be like it's Mystique, but it's this.
Yeah, and I think there's so all the staff is staying the same as far as there's some people that moved up into some different roles, but we have people that are on staff 7, 8, 9, 10 years in a row. So there's a stable both from a stability and just a group of people ready to go that produce their own groups. They all teach drum corps. So there's a comfortness or comfort blanketness of it of just like there's enough same like myself and the assistant director Austin Young is still there, and um, so the way we run and operate still the same, but again, like you said, there's yeah, feeling out process probably maybe the best way to say it, or just making sure that we're kind of figuring out what makes everybody else tick.
Well, and also, maybe if you want to look at it from like the a really positive way is how can everybody be put to best use? All the new people, right? In this situation, what is this ultimately going to look like at the peak of our powers, right? Like in terms of how it all fits together.
And yeah, in a perfect world, everybody's doing what they do best, right? And then everybody else is clearing out so those people can do that one chunk of what they need to do. And I think that the dance of that is what we're kind of sorting through now. But um, it's good to just kind of get to know new people. I mean, I'm sure you guys feel it too. Like you don't, the older you get, you don't meet new people, right? You don't like start working with new people, or you don't. So there's a freshness to that for me, especially having this is my I don't know 21st, 23rd year as a director, something like that. Um, so just being able to kind of again look at it through a new lens, look at it through, all right, it's great that we've done all the things that we've done, but what is our future? What is the vision for that? What is the guiding light for that? And getting to choose it is cool, and it's definitely a shared responsibility. Um, but it's that's the biggest thing is it's a huge opportunity for Mystique, and we're not going to miss that.
Heck yeah. Like I said, I can't wait to see it.
Hmm.
When do you guys start back up with auditions? It's pretty soon, right?
Yeah, it's super soon. We start in next month, so I guess it's almost September. So the very beginning of October, we have the first three Sundays. We do the 5th, the 12th, and the 16th, something. Let me get this right. Um, I said I had this already. I'm not sure if what your demographic on this podcast is, but just in case, yeah. The 5th, the 12th, and 19th. Um, and that kind of gives us a good understanding who we have. And again, having quite a few kids back is going to be key. And I think that is a pretty normal start for us as far as when we're starting. And um, a lot of times it's just based on when we can have our new equipment in. Um, but now that some of the tariff things have chilled out,
I can only imagine how that is
Yeah.
on that end of things. The logistic side, yeah.
And just the expense of all of it.
So many drums are coming from that, um, from either Taiwan or China or Japan or, um, but yeah, very beginning of October. Then we hit the ground running in November. Um, Full weekends, November, December. Um, we are doing the Dayton Regional and the Atlanta Regional this year. It's been a few years since we've done the Dayton one, but just with the way they kind of shake out this year, date wise, that was the best for us.
That's cool. Hey, are we still going to hear Stretch Armstrong in the lot, or is that like done?
Am I? We'll have to see. I don't. We aren't revealing what we are doing just yet, but
Keep all those cards close to the vest. All right, and that's cool. We'll leave it at that. Maybe, maybe not.
maybe it's always a chance. And I think, yeah, traditionally, I don't know, we play as many exercises in the lot as everybody else does, but
That's
But
the one thing I love. It's just like short, sweet, to the point.
well, but I mean, I guess practically that is a good question to ask. Is there are there going? I imagine. Well, can you talk at all about is anything going to be adjusted for Colin's writing? Because Shane's writing was one way, Colin's writing is another way.
very, very different, in some ways. There are definitely a few things that we'll do a little differently. And, we were already doing some of those, especially those multiple stroke hand things with fours and fives. But yeah, there's a few things that I think are differently fundamentally, but at the end of the day, just being super clear, like we're gonna drum like Mystique drums, and that hasn't changed. Obviously the way we are orchestrated is, on some level, but I think there's also a similarity to some of that is from just an approach, just as how we approach the drum and how we get after it. I think it's, um, all still exactly the same. So it will be interesting, even for me, to see that. For me, is like we always sound like Mystique sounds, and the way that does change over time. But I think that, uh, I would be surprised to us not have that same familiar air about it all. We're still going to be us.
Good, and I think that's an important message for anybody new that's thinking of maybe coming out and auditioning for Mystique this year. Like not coming in assuming it's going to be wildly different, like because of these changes. There's Mystique is going to be Mystique.
Yeah, same person, different haircut.
Right. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that analogy. You talk about the Mystique sound. Let's talk tuning real quick. I mean, I use the word real quick, but I know because George could talk about
Oh
this
my God.
forever. Tuning for indoor and then tuning for drum corps. What is for you? What's the difference?
More the same than not, I would think. I think with your quad sound, you're able to have a longer, like, and I didn't do, like the subs warm up and that kind of stuff. So in for the drum corps, so I'll have a little bit of time to kind of check everybody out and mill about, and I like to watch as many groups as I could, um, throughout the summer. Um, I do feel like there's a there's a sect of people that like their quads to be tuned up real high, and then there's a low set of people. And I think bass drums to a degree. I think the for because of the insideness, I think everybody's bass drums end up being pretty high pitched and short sounding. Um, I think the bass drums get the short end of the stick as far as just like in drum corps, they end up being one of the few things you can hear the whole time, if you're the judge, just because the way the drums speak in there. Um, Indoor, they end up having to be a little shorter. Obviously, they're smaller drums, so you don't get that fullness that I appreciate from a drum corps, or even like the way, and still does, but the way cadets used to muffle on the outside. Uh, um, that sounds great from up top.
The air conditioning muffle, yeah.
100%. Yeah, just the straight gray foam on the outside.
I want to say it's Thermo King something or other. Steve Kiefer. I don't know if you know Steve Kiefer at all. He was like
Yeah,
the bass drum godfather from back in the day. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. That's a name I haven't heard in a while, but no, he taught cadet bass lines for 20 plus years, I think, over time.
Bass drumming nowadays wouldn't be what it is without guys like Steve Kiefer
Mhm.
and
Kent Cater.
Kent Cater from the Vanguard side of things. Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw Joe Fant in there as
Oh
well
yeah,
from
yeah.
the um because yeah, that Cavalier style is kind of what most East Coast people still do, and I think cadets did that, um because there's two, I would say, two different versions of bass drumming for most people. It's the rotation or the wrist break. Um, Let me say this out loud, just so if you have one clip from this thing,
Hot take.
like bass drummers should play in the middle of the head, no matter how you approach it. Okay, if you want to rotate, or you want to wrist break to do it, like, it's all good to me. Um, the the non-negotiable is playing in the middle. And I think that doesn't translate for everybody, and just the drum sounds better. It's not going to get the overtone. um and I think a lot of the wrist break bass lines are awesome. Like, they sound really good. It's obviously smooth. The groups who play the rotation maybe look more similar. And I think that should be creditable. It is uniformity.
Turn the doorknob.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that I don't know where we got on this tangent here, but the um, the yeah, it is odd to me, and it seems like people in California have chosen one way, and then people on the East Coast have chosen another way, and it hasn't quite. And then maybe in the middle. I mean, obviously, being in Iowa, we were not in the middle of those two things, but the I'm interested to see, you know any great bass line, but you got to play in the middle.
I feel like wrist turn, you get more power into the drum from like the whip of the hand coming back.
Rob, you're so happy right now.
Oh, I could talk this stuff. I could talk this stuff. You're speaking my language. I'm just waiting for you to be like, and get rid of puffy mallets. Then I would be like, that's it. I'm not a fan of puffies, but I know they have their place in playing.
We
But
we
yeah,
spent, I would say, we spent half the summer with our opening bass feature, bass moment, this on puppies,
yeah,
and for some reason, like, it just it doesn't always do it for me. I like
yeah,
the
yeah,
timbre
yeah,
of it, but I think it's harder for them to blend and balance on their side of
yeah.
it. But no, I'm with you on that. That's a weird hill for us to die on, but I'll be standing there next to you about it.
uh, we'll be
But
we'll
there
be
there
we'll
are there are moments for it.
we'll be standing there singing Rocky Top and
There.
turning the
Thank you.
wrist and everything else. Yeah, yeah. No, well, let me ask you this: you talked about quads real quick. Are you a deep shell quad guy, or are you a shallow shell quad? What do you prefer quad wise?
So this has been a hot topic here in Nashville for us, as far as we've been the shallow shell for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, we are switching to the deep shell quads this year. So that's breaking news
Oh,
for
interesting.
Wow.
for five people at least, that are going to carry them. But I think if you look, yeah, especially if you look at WGI, the majority of them, I think, are playing deep shell quads. But if you know, like you guys were talking about on your intro, like, if you hit them perfectly together, they both sound great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the hands that do it. Like, The tuning can be fine or okay, and it still be really good. Obviously, it's going to make a difference. But if the members are jamming and they're playing great together, like that's gonna be overwhelming, no matter what you're doing. Um, that's the goal, I guess.
Does Mystique have? You don't have to reveal it, but does Mystique have its own? Because you guys have been doing this for so long, uh, its own recipe with regards to like the tenor tuning and the bass tuning
Mhm.
that you guys know
We
works
do.
and speaks. Does it ever get adjusted for the soundscape
It
of any
does.
particular show? Okay, interesting.
And yeah, so there's specific pitches for the bass drums and the quads and the concert bass drums and all that kind of stuff. And it does change over time. I think sometimes it changes with preference over time. Just like that might be a little bit too much, or um, but I think there is a something to say about just especially with quad tuning. I don't know if you guys have ever tuned quads. That's tough. Like it is a bear to just like keep up with it. So like huge respect for quad players and quad techs, especially just having to make that happen all the time. But it's crucial that we won't rehearse in any of my groups if the drums aren't tuned. Like it's just you're working against yourself um a lot of times.
And it's amazing, even like via video, how quad guys pick up on the tuning real quick, and they could be like, "Oh, that tuning's terrible." Yeah,
Or drum three is out,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Exactly. And
somebody's
it's
drum
like
three.
I'm not a quad guy, and quads scare me. Playing quads always scared me. But it's like I would never know. But like a quad guy, I'll right away. Oh yeah, that.
And that's I think what the thing about like doing stuff, being in there every block over the summer, like you really notice those things. Like, oh man, the quads changed heads last night. Like, oh yeah, they're really low today. And so just like those kinds of things, um, because you're looking for that consistency of sound all the time. Um, you gotta have the consistency of tuning at the same time. And sometimes that tuning gets a little too high, right? And then you're like, like, oh, we can back that off. It doesn't have to be so aggressive, like or even like yeah, 90s or early 2000s Blue Devils quads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
as high a pitch as you could make any set of
yeah.
quads.
That's what I was bringing up, the
But they
shallow
hit them
the shallow
together.
shell. Yeah, those shallow shell Yamahas they used to play back in the 90s.
Let's just reef all the drums. Come on,
I'm.
let's bring that
You know
back.
what? I am a reef sound guy. Like snares,
I'm
bass one. I want to just crank the hell out of
Here's
it.
what I'm gonna say. I'm old enough to remember when drum keys, like drum manufacturers, didn't make usable drum keys for marching
Oh yeah,
drums, right?
yeah.
But they, like the elongated, like
The
arms
leverage,
on.
yeah.
That was invented while developed while I was is marching. Biggest mistake they ever made, because as soon as we got our hands on those, we were cranking our drums any chance we got.
Yeah.
Like nightmare for techs. Like, why do your drums sound different? Like, but it sounds really good.
Yeah.
You know.
It kind of cracks me. It kind of cracks me up nowadays because guys talk about tuning to a note, a specific like.
Oh, yeah.
we tuned to like a B flat, whatever the note is, or bass wise. That was just like tick 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 tick. Oh, that sounds great. Those days are gone, man. Those days are gone. It's so uniform now.
Well, if you go back and listen to those groups, like they still sound good. Like there's some equipment that obviously like oh probably didn't sound as good as it probably could have, but like even back in when snare drums used to use the Pandora heads and just like the
Playing on concrete.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot. So now all this stuff feels better to play on. Those quad heads do not like get tuned up that far. They really don't like that at all. Um, they just start blowing out and start warping the rims, and so there's a certain line where they don't like it anymore. Um,
Every once in a while, I'll go back and I'll watch a back in the day video, and I hear the hard snare sound on that flam head,
Love it.
and then I see no arms at all. It's all just
All
wrist.
My wrist hurts.
Yeah.
My wrists hurt just thinking about it. Oops.
drums are like up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
here.
Elbows all
So
high.
drums had to be
yeah.
level, regardless of how short you were or how
Oh
tall you
my
were.
god! And it's like, it's crazy to watch. It's crazy to watch, but I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring it back.
Like I said, yeah, and it's the same. It's the same as it was as far as the approach. We've learned some things. Hey, this makes more sense if we do it like this, or these vest carriers don't fit everybody. We should make it more inclusive. All those kinds of things I think have been huge. Um,
Does anybody even make a fiberglass
Oh my God.
carrier anymore, or are those just
I
completely
don't think
gone?
so, no.
What are we going to put our stickers on?
Yeah, right.
We did you did lose that personalization area where that I did get a kick out of that. It was like moving into a cool dorm room almost when you got that new carrier with all the stickers on it.
Yeah, yeah. You just customize it. I think mine had like a Peisty big stick, whatever was free, because
Hmm.
I'm poor, I
Oh,
couldn't
of
afford that
course.
stuff.
Or like a Ron John Maui Surf, like
Yeah,
surfing sticker or something like
Mister
that.
Mister Zogs or
Yeah.
the sex wax.
Exactly. Like I said, I'm excited about the all the the new vision for Mystique and for the what is in front of us and what's capable based on just what we've already kind of set forth for ourselves. So we set the table. We've made it happen. Now it's time to do the thing and um, make a great show and make a great experience for another group of kids. The 32nd version of Mystique. So
That's the thing right there is this idea that you guys have created a very specific home for people, right? Mystique is a home. It's a destination for anybody who wants that. And if it went away for whatever reason, it wouldn't exist anymore,
Yeah,
right? Like nobody else is going to provide that particular experience. So we love that you guys are continuing to do that, continuing to provide that experience for because yes, like your members like love it, obviously. Like it's when you're at Mystique, it is Mystique till the end, right?
we always talk about when we get to go to a Mystique rehearsal. We just love watching how it's done there.
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that, and I think um, there's an intensity. I think that is scary to people when you just see it from the outside. Um, but I think it's more of that we're really ramping ourselves up for that the entire year, and the um, I think every kid, every member wants to be in a group that everybody's held to the same standard, right? There are no playing favorites and that kind of thing. And we really strive to, again, just like we set the standard for everybody, and we're going to work within that to make sure that we're being accountable to that, but we're also being sensitive that some people need a little bit different path. But at the end of the day, we get the same score. We get this, everyone gets the same title read to them at the very beginning. Like it's everybody's on the same playing field. So we do try to um, make sure that those kids are able to succeed at the top level and be able to contribute and feel like they're um, everyone else is pulling the weight the same way they are. And I think that's one of our strong suits is that again like um, I think a lot of times we're known for working hard or something like that. I don't know if that's. I think it's maybe more of a generalization, more so than it's just like I think you see that the kids are super bought into what's going on and super invested into the program, and I think that's um, to some people that's different, but I think that for us it's just they're invested. That means we're gonna be able to do more together, and I think that's the big opportunity.
I just think it's like that everybody knows that rehearsal time is precious, and to steal a line from the TV show The Bear, there's a sign that they hang in the restaurants. Every second counts,
Hmm.
and that just to me that just nails it right on the head.
Hmm. Yeah, and to kind of throw it back to the drum corps, like the longer the season goes, like those days get shorter, right? And George, you felt this probably too, if you were on there towards the end, like a show day for a group that's in the nine or below, you get maybe 2 hours some days, like
Yeah.
2 hours of rehearsal. hour and a half of rehearsal, and then towards the end, sometimes it's very, very short, just because of your drive or whatever. Um, so you gotta set the table all before that. You got to be doing all the things great up until then, so that when you get to those moments, you can be great and you can be successful.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I've always loved about Mystique, kind of speaking to, not just the members being bought into being a part of the ensemble, but also that organically leads to performing the show from a different place, right? And because you can be given music and choreography and a show concept and all that, and you can perform it at a high level, but it's different when you're bought in. It's different when you are literally embodying what the show is, and that is something I feel like from the outside, Mystique has been known for. That's been a strong part of the identity. Is like whatever you're watching on the show, conceptually, character wise, storyline wise, any of that stuff is literally happening in front of you. Instead of it just being music, vision, stuff to elements to be performed. So
No, and I think, yeah, every group in world class is great, right? Like those kids they're getting after it, and they're going for it. And I think that's, like you said, like that's something we do strive for. And because the kids are invested, like they're all going to do whatever it takes to make Mystique happen. And sometimes that's just loading the truck great, or sometimes that's making sure that the school gets cleaned up great. And so there's a kind of a holistic view on it all. And again, I don't think it's different for us, but it is. I do think that somehow we stand out in the crowd in that regards of just being bought in, being about it
right.
um, all the way through, and that being super transparent in how we present ourselves.
It's funny because like the way you describe it is like, oh, this is just rehearsal, but for us, it's like, oh, this whole aura of mystique.
Yeah. Well, but also that speaks to what I said before, right? On the ground, day to day, it's one way. What it looks like from the outside,
Yeah.
is and we have to be mindful of that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to us, it's like that's just what we do. And then, but yeah, to somebody just getting a small sample of it, we do try to keep that in mind. But again, we're just so focused on doing our job and
Well, I think that's
doing
important
the.
for us as outsiders to
Mhm.
keep in mind,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, sure.
Is that all we are literally seeing is the tip of the iceberg, and we need to be. I would say we need to have a healthy respect for everything that happened, to create what we're seeing, and also to be mindful of kind of like our ignorance, if that makes sense, as part of that. Like we don't know how the season has gone. We don't know, what has happened. So let's not be quick to. Well, I mean, I don't know. People are going to do whatever they want to do anyway, regardless of what I say on this particular podcast in the comment section. Um, but but this summer reminded me of that.
No, and I think that gives you that perspective of that you've brought your lunch pail to work, and you've done the thing. So like, even though you've done it in the past, and I think everybody that's going to watch this podcast or is going to comment on these kind of things, they've been a part of it on some level, but maybe you just sometimes you lose that perspective of, yeah, these are a bunch of kids just trying to work hard. And did everybody spend the same amount of time rehearsing? Probably. Um, are some people are going to be better at the end? Definitely. Um, and so there is a, let's appreciate what's going on while you're still trying to grind and do
Hmm.
the thing.
Do the thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
100%.
All right.
Do you have anything else, George?
No, Josh. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about Mystique and brag about Mystique. And um, I think it's going to be it's going to be us, but it's going to be, like I said, new haircut, and still just being able to give the kids a great experience and put on an amazing show. And we're going to do everything we can to be as competitive as we can.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact I'm excited to see see you guys this upcoming season and see all the work that you guys put in, that are going to put into this show, and to see how it turns out.
Me too.
It sounds like you need. It sounds like you need to be booking a trip to the Dayton Regional,
Oh yeah, hey,
Rob. That's what it looks like.
I'm not going to tell. I'm not going to tell
Hold
you where
on.
I'm going
Is
to
it going
go.
to snow?
I'm just going to show up.
That's the question.
It's definitely going to snow. 100% going to snow.
I feel like I've seen like videos from that, and like kids unloading like the truck in the snow and stuff.
We'll be in some little classroom watching a warm up. All.
Without a doubt. It's not. You need that perspective though to take back to everybody in California and say, there's some people having to deal with a lot to do this, and maybe you guys have a lot to deal with. You guys have earthquakes and fires and all that kind of stuff.
See, instead of Dayton, you should have come out to the California regional.
Trust me. If and I think we're in a position where like it's a little tougher because you guys out there are able to probably drive to most things where like we can drive to these regionals. Yeah, we can, but we're having to rent a bus, which is very expensive. And so you're driving 4 hours to Atlanta, or you're driving 5.5 hours to Dayton, which it's doable, but you're eating up some time and some money and some resources. And I know the Florida groups have the same kind of issue of they want to be able to compete, so they got to come up to Atlanta, which is a full day drive. So there is a two Americas in the NWGI as far as that is, but um, that's part of our challenge. And you guys, like I said, you guys have to get out to Dayton.
If you do it, if you do ever come to Southern California in the future in some season, make it a sneak attack. Like make a deal with WGI or even just come to like an SCPA show and like have there just be an empty time slot for like an independent world group and like who's this?
Yeah,
I wonder who's going to show up.
And then
oh no,
I like this.
Yeah,
it's like, and all of a sudden like Mystique pulls up to the lot and you're like, wait, what?
see, and this is how you do it. You talk to Pearl. You have them already have a set of drums out here for you, so you don't have to
There you go.
transport anything.
That would be awesome. And trust me, we've talked about it. That would be awesome if we could do that. And it's just limited funds already for this old nonprofit.
But we don't just bring this up to you. Anytime we talk to like Josh Brickey or the Infinity guys, we tell them the same thing. We're trying to hype up somebody coming out here, just because the weather's so good and you could drum outdoors and
Yeah, we could probably all meet in Denver. Um, Make a little bit of a hike for everybody.
Yeah.
Or even like a Texas, like a Dallas regional, where it's somewhere where it's not too expensive to get to.
Every now and again, we'll get an email from somebody like from Dallas or somebody from Houston. It's like, what would it take? It's like, it would take a lot, and just moving the resources around. But man, it would be nice if we could all kind of see each other before the end and just kind of have a pre-Royal Rumble before we get to the end.
That's what I'm talking about. We'd be like in heaven, like, oh my God.
That would be really cool. I mean, yeah, you never know. Maybe one day. Season is short.
Yeah, right. And it's just around the corner. That's the crazy part. Yeah.
No, well, I guess we'll be seeing you guys soon. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to jump on here and brag about Mystique and talk to you guys.
Heck yeah. Well, it's always a pleasure for me to just sit and get a chance to talk to you, whether it be here or via text or via Facebook Messenger. It's always fun.
Yeah, thanks for always being so great and welcoming with us. Whether it be in the lot or at rehearsal
Absolutely.
and stuff like that. We really appreciate it, and we really enjoy having these conversations.
Yeah,
absolutely. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, everybody. Okay. And with that, I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yep.
George, let's hope the Dodgers finish the season strong.
Yep.
I don't know about that Yankee hat that Josh is wearing, but it's all right.
They're not going to get in your Dodgers' way. I can tell you that.
Hey, the only who's going to get in the Dodgers' way? The Dodgers are going to get in the Dodgers' way.
Maybe so.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, and with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you next time here in the shop.